Hello, my name is Arie Kaplan, and I am a writer and narrative designer for Shadows of Dawn. Yeah, I was camped out in front of the Next Player Games building, and I was like, "You guys got to give me a job. I got to pay the rent." No, that's not at all what happened. How did you guys find me? I'd worked with John Cooperson, who apparently I call him John, and everyone else calls him Coops, and I've noticed that during all of our story meetings, but I'm not going to stop because it's in character for me to call him John, I guess. But I've worked with him on many projects for many different video game companies, and we've worked together for quite a while. We always enjoy working together, and we're good friends. And he approached me at the beginning of the year. Would you like to come on board and work on this new game we're developing called Shadows of Dawn? He started telling me about a lot of the backstory of the game and everything, and a lot of the sort of narrative material he'd come up with so far, and it just sounded incredible. Almost immediately, I had an interesting take on the material, I think, and just felt like this is a world that I could really sort of sink my teeth into and have fun with. And it's definitely been that so far, and it continues to be quite a bit of fun working on it with everyone. As far as my background, I work in video game industry. I'm a TV comedy writer. I've written scripts for both live action and animated TV shows, live action shows like World's Dumbest on True TV, and animated shows like Charlie's Colorform City on Netflix. And so I'm very used to the idea of working for different audiences and different demographics and writing in different voices and different styles. And so that's always a lot of fun for me. And here I get to be, thinking about the world of the game through the lens of all these different characters. And so while I'm writing material for these characters, or even just backstories or lore about these characters, I'm trying to put myself in each character's head and like trying to think how they think of the world of the game. Something I'm used to doing, again, working for different actors and different types of performers on these different TV shows. In addition to that, I'm also a comic book writer and children's book author. I've written many comics and graphic novels and children's books over the past few years, and that's always great fun as well. Of course, it's funny that, like, a lot of the time, for one section of the day, I'll be working on the material for this game for Shadows of Dawn, whether it's the story Bible or quest outlines or plot outlines or anything, scripts or character dialogue or in-game fiction. Um, and this game, which is very much for adults, and then for the second half of the day, I'll be working on an adorable children's book, about Spidey and his amazing friends, or Lilo and Stitch, or something like that. And it's funny because the two couldn't be more different, but it's kind of what my life's been like for quite a long time now. That's always a lot of fun to sort of switch gears. Let's see, what have I worked on so far that I'm particularly happy and excited about? I, it's it's hard for me to answer that question without providing really gigantic, ginormous spoilers that I don't know if everyone else working on the game would be cool with that, nor should they. So it's difficult to say. Yeah. So all right. One of the things that I've been trying to do lately is come up with a lot of like in-game fiction and like sort of supplemental materials that kind of hint at the lore of the game and what happened in this world that you find yourself in. What happened in the years and decades before you, the player character, were first bioprinted and found yourself in this dystopian world, and what led to it being a dystopian world in the first place. And so, one of those materials that you find in the game is a children's book called The Neighbors Are Coming, written by a fictional children's book author named Norbert Justman, which is, if that name sounds familiar, it is a parody of the name Norton Juster, who was the author of the children's book The Phantom Tollbooth. Anyway, The Neighbors Are Coming is a book that supposedly, according to the lore of the game, and this is, I really wrote the Neighbors Are Coming, so big Shocker there, because Norbert Justman is fictional. Um, but The Neighbors Are Coming is a children's book that Norbert Justman wrote when he and the rest of the population of the Earth found out that the mosaic, this giant hive mind alien collective, was careening towards Earth and would be here at our doorstep in just a few years. And he's trying to be optimistic and positive about the whole situation. And you know what? What if these aliens? What if the mosaic are our friends and they're here to help us and they're just like our neighbors? You know, they're our neighbors. So he wrote a book for preschoolers called The Neighbors Are Coming, which is all about how wonderful it is that these aliens are coming to Earth. And of course, it wasn't so wonderful when the aliens finally did come to Earth. So there's this really sort of melancholy, bittersweet, sad vibe that comes from this tattered old book that you'll find in the game and from reading the pages of the book. Because I also wrote a few pages from the book that you can read when you enter the game. So I'm really proud of that. It's a lot of fun. And the other Arie Kleinberg, although he spells his name without the silent E at the end, more traditionally spelled, he designed this amazing cover for The Neighbors Are Coming, and it just looks perfect. It looks very Dr. Seuss-like, very Seussian, which was definitely the kind of direction that I gave him. Like, make it look kind of like Dr. Seuss, kind of like Maurice Sendak. And I think he just, as always, he just did an incredible job with it. Without trying to sound too vague, whenever I come up with something, be it a line of dialogue or a concept or some core aspect of the narrative, that whenever anyone else gloms onto it and starts either repeating the line of dialogue, or let's say it's that, if it's like a line of dialogue and someone else repeats it and it becomes sort of like, for all intents and purposes, like a catchphrase, then I'm like, oh, I guess they like that line. I guess that line works. And honestly, maybe that line is a catchphrase that we can use again and again throughout the game. Or if it's like, similarly, if it's a concept that like people resonate with, people being, in this case, the other folks working on the game, because we have these story meetings every couple of weeks where we talk about this stuff, and I sort of pitch a lot of my concepts and ideas. Then I think, oh, okay, it's resonated with people, they like it, I should keep going in this direction. So that's always a fun part of the process. And also, being, in addition to my work in the video game industry, I'm also a TV comedy writer, so I'm used to sort of pitching ideas in a writer's room, and our story meetings kind of feel that way. And I'm sort of like constantly pitching ideas in a very similar way to the way you would in a TV writer's room. So it's always kind of fun to do that. Honestly, so many different things that I like about the process of working on this game, working with everyone else at Next Player Games, it's hard to sort of narrow it down. This is a game that I'm incredibly, unbelievably proud of having worked on and continuing to work on. This game, I'm really proud of the work that I've done on it, the work that I continue to do on it. I think this is an incredible world without giving away too much. This is a very original world that we've come up with for this game. I think the player will be really surprised. We're trying to like definitely zig where other games would zag. We're trying to like come up with a really original and unique world for this game, some really original, unique core concepts for this game, really interesting factions for this game that you can either ally yourself with or fight against throughout the course of playing the game. It's some great characters, some great world building. I think that once you play the game, you'll be very, very impressed with it. Shadows of Dawn is a really original world and a really original premise. It's a really original take on the whole concept of like dystopian games and horror-themed games and first-person shooters with RPG elements. It's something really unique and something that you haven't encountered before. Believe me when I say that. And the fact that I'm holding back on telling you a lot about Shadows of Dawn is just because there's so much that I can't wait for you to discover once you do play it, and I don't want to ruin that by giving it all away right here.